All right, welcome out to another episode of the 365 Sports Unlimited. I got my sidekick here on the UFC, Val Florian. Val, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Yeah, this is another day. We're talking about the fights. Had a good pay-per-view yesterday, so I'm gonna be looking to break some stuff down.
Right, we were on, I think, Friday, Val, and well, first of all, this is episode 7. It's the continuation of episode 7, right? Because on Friday we basically we're previewing the fights, right? It's what we do here on the UFC, and you kind of gave who you thought you kind of talked about the main card, the matchups on the main card, and you kind of talked about each fighter and their strengths and possibly weaknesses, and then you gave a prediction on who you thought would win the fight, right? So we're gonna kind of at the end of the breakdown, we're gonna kind of talk. Well, we're gonna talk about your record also, and then but this was the main event. We'll get into it, right? But it was something I think that we didn't talk about definitely here. We didn't even think that was a possibility, the results of what happened in that main event. But now it just shows that things like that can't happen. And so we're here to break down the UFC main event card, 264, UFC 264, and Val and I are going to break down the card. And Val, we're going to start off with the bantamweight fight between Sean O'Malley and Kris Montijo. I hope I said it right. O'Malley gets the victory. Let's see, on a TKO in round 3 at the 4:33 mark. Kind of give us your analysis of this fight.
Yeah, this fight went down great. I mean, you got to give a lot of props with Moutinho. I mean, this kid took the fight on 11 days notice, straight up. He showed a lot of passion, a lot of heart, didn't get it done, but I mean, I'm sure he made a few fans that night. I mean, O'Malley, a lot of people figured he was going to win. I know I had predicted he was going to win second round, but he came back and he still TKO'd him, but in the third round needed a little bit longer to do it. In the beginning of the round 1, O'Malley, he has a good sense of range, gets a good sense of direction early on. Moutinho, he's getting outscored here on the striking. I mean, he definitely took some big shots. O'Malley was doing good in the first round. He lands 89% significant strikes in the first round. Now, then as the fight goes on, O'Malley starts to find a home for some heavy jabs. He continues to outscore him. I mean, his mobility and footwork, this guy really is one step ahead of him in this fight here. But Moutinho is impressive. Even though he might be getting outscored, this kid is showing heart, passion, determination. He is coming forward and he is driving straight down the center. Now, even though he is being met with punches, which is scoring points for O'Malley, this kid is driving. That shows aggression. That shows control, octagon. Even though that O'Malley was scoring, this kid was leading the dance, so to speak. I mean, and so late in the round, about maybe, I don't know if it was the late second or the third, but O'Malley starts unlocking this other chamber of energy, this new level, and he really starts trying to he hits this kid with everything from the kitchen sink. And this kid tried everything. I mean, he was bobbing, he was moving. I really just think it just came down to just technique, skill, preparation. I feel like O'Malley has just had a better camp. Maybe he just came prepared. He was on a step ahead of this kid. Every single time this kid tried to find openings, get his rhythms, O'Malley changes up. He was good at evading. He was doing all this crazy stuff, trying to pick and shot, because O'Malley is the sniper that he is. He's not just going to stay there and get hit. He'll go, he'll bob, he'll move, and he really looks for precision shots. He was busting this kid up, but I mean, I have all due respect for Moutinho, because 11 days notice fighting Sean O'Malley, one of the top prospects, he made him earn it. He made Sean O'Malley earn this win, and all props to Moutinho, and good job for O'Malley for winning this one too.
I will say, because I did watch this pay-per-view, O'Malley looked good. I mean, his striking and he, he did everything he was supposed to do. Now, on the other side, man, I thought this guy was going to get knocked out. I mean, he took a beat down as far as getting hit. But, we got to watch this kid, Kris Montijo. He's going to be back,
for sure,
because some of the hits that he was taking should have knocked him down and kept him down. And every time there was a combo, every time there was a throw and he was getting hit, he was just coming right back at him. And so if you're O'Malley, you're like, okay, wait a minute, man. Yeah, I'm popping this kid with everything I got, and he won't go down. He was bloody. He showed a lot of heart. And I think you're absolutely right. I think the preparation maybe wasn't there. If you're going to take the fight on a 11-day notice, it's hard to prepare. I would hate to see what this kid could do when he does prepare for a fight. If he's got, we don't know what his camp is like yet, but he'll definitely be around. It's a name you're going to hear. Man, you never want to take a beating like that, but when you can take one and keep coming, man, and he took one and he kept coming. It's almost like we talk about Nate Diaz, right? He's just a go-getter. It's what it seemed like this guy was doing in this fight. It just, the punches, he just kept coming, like he was just attacking. And it's going to be scary for the next guy. If this guy continues to fight this way, man, you'll have to be a little bit more cautious. You don't want your fighter to take that many hits, but the fact that you can take those hits
for sure
and keep coming, it's scary, right? So O'Malley definitely gets the TKO in the third round. Now, the next one was the females. Irene, Aldana, and who's the other one? Yana?
Yeah, Yana Kunitskaya.
Kunitskaya.
Yana, I would say Yana Kunitskaya.
Yeah, well, Irene Aldana gets the TKO round one at the 4:35 mark. Go ahead and break that down for us.
Oh yeah, this one, lovely fight. The women's bantamweight, I had said it before in the podcast. I mean, these girls really do bring it. I knew it was going to be quick. I had predicted it was going to go to a decision. So I mean, maybe I didn't know it would be quick per se, but I knew that they were going to bring the fireworks. I'm going to start it down here. In the beginning, both start to do some kickboxing. They're feeling each other out. They're trying to get some range. Kunitskaya, she's showing some good determination here. I mean, she is showing patience, good attacks. I mean, but Aldana manages to bust her up her nose. That might have done a little bit, maybe her morale a little bit. Sometimes when fighters get busted open, sometimes that they get madder. Sometimes they get better. They get good. They get angry. But Kunitskaya, I don't know. She got a little busted up. That seemed that actually dropped her. She hit her with, I believe it was a left hook. She plants it, and I mean, Kunitskaya gets sit down. When she gets sit down, that's kind of when things start to turn in Aldana's favor, because she starts to, I believe, she starts to do some ground and pound, and then she is just really putting herself on her. Kunitskaya almost has nowhere to go, so she starts looking for submission. She says, "Hey, Aldana is on me. What can I do here?" So she says, "I'm gonna do some jujitsu. I'm gonna do some arm bars." She grabs the arm. And then she tries to lock it up, but Aldana notices it. She sees it. She spots it. And she says, "Hey, I'm going to get out of this." So I think if Kunitskaya, I think I would have liked to see her face her on the ground, because she was on the ground and Aldana was up. I think her mistake is when she turned to the side to get that one hand up to lift her body up, it left her face a little open. And that's where Aldana really started dropping the bombs on her. And then that's when she just kind of rolls over in the ground and pound. Pretty much, long story short, the ground and pound was just overwhelming from Aldana, and she delivered and just basically was plumbering Kunitskaya with shots. And in the very first round, there was 30 seconds to spare. Aldana is doing ground and pound. Kunitskaya rolls over, and the referee just kind of says, "Oh, she's taking too many hits," because I mean, if you're not defending yourself or attempting to advance position, they can't just let you take shots. So she kind of turtled up, one could say, maybe in like a fetal position, trying to just protect her. It was all defense. You got to have some type of offense in there. Referee thought he saw enough. I mean, all props to Aldana for going in there and getting the job done. These girls have good endurance, good cardio. I really was believing a little bit more in Kunitskaya. I still predicted Aldana to win, but I did give Kunitskaya a little bit more room because I've known she's gone through to some decisions. So I know she's gone the distance, you know, at least in the 3 rounds realm. And, you know, her endurance was good and camp was good. But Aldana just, I guess, just wanted it more, had the passion, and her hands are heavy. And at the end of the day, it was that left hook that dropped Kunitskaya, and then Aldana was able to finish with the ground and pound, and that's pretty much what happened. Round one finished for Aldana.
Yeah, that fight ended pretty quick. I saw some of it. I think I got up to do something, came back, and the fight was gone. I said, "Wow!" And I could just see her, in the interview. So I didn't actually get to see the ending of that fight. But when I came back to sit down to watch it, it was done, and she was interviewing. So a great win. We'll see what's next for Aldana as we continue to watch. It was a great victory for her, right? And the next one, it was the heavyweight. It was the big one. This is the one that we had talked a little bit about. So it was Tuivasa, and then of course Greg Hardy. And this one was one, Val, that we talked about. Where Greg Hardy, he's still learning. Obviously, we want to see what he can do in a fight like this. Well, I'll let you break it down for the fans. Go ahead.
Yeah, this fight was awesome. Heavyweight, heavy hitters. We knew this one. There was no way this one was going to a decision, right? Hardy, he's fast, he's explosive, and he did exactly what I thought he would do. I figured he was going to be aggressive, go for the center straight, try to get something in, set him down, get it out early. And I think that kind of was his downfall, because I'm going to break this down for you. Basically, in the very beginning, they both start trying to establish range, right? One of the first things they do. Tuivasa, see, he's throwing some good kicks to mix it up. Now it's becoming a boxing match. And this is all happening very fast. This is all within the span of like a minute, right? I mean, Hardy lands a strike or two, and it appears that he wobbles Tuivasa. And I believe it might have been a left hook also. And that kind of wobbled him. I don't know if he faked it, because after that, Hardy rushes in. I guess he sees, hey, he's hurt. So he just jets right down the middle and tries to just go in for the kill shot. But then Tuivasa just steps back, kind of counters, boom. And I had said that too in the earlier podcast. I had saw Hardy probably trying to come up first, because I think those are his keys to victory too. Hit first, come in fast, heavy, strong, because I know he's got him power. I know he's got the knockout power. If he could just touch Tuivasa, and I figured Hardy would be able to get it done. But Tuivasa here proved, no, this was not Hardy's night. And he did it with the counter. And what happened is, when he was wobbled, Hardy comes in, he counters him, he drops him. Fight's not over yet, but Hardy is trying to recollect himself, and he can't do it. Tuivasa drops bombs on this guy, forcing the referee to stop the fight. I don't know if it was a tactic, if it was a bait when he wobbled, because as soon as he hit him, he was celebrated and he was happy. I don't know if it was a tactic or not, but whether it was, I mean, he did it. He did it. He won with that back counter, boom. And really caught Hardy in. I think Hardy should have not have been overzealous. When you know that your opponent is rocked, you don't want to leave any room for them to recover. You want to take advantage, try to get them out, finish the fight. But in cases like this, and unfortunately this was the case with Hardy, you don't want to get too overzealous. You don't want to get too eager, because this one cost him. And I mean, he was looking good, and Tuivasa was looking good too. But Hardy, I just felt, had maybe a little strength advantage. And I felt that had he connected more, he might have done it. But good job for Tuivasa for pulling out the win on his part, excuse me. And so it's funny, because after he gets the win, he does the interview. Next thing I know, Hardy's waking up. He's he gets a shoe, puts the beer in the shoe, and he's going around with all fans, and he's trying to be like Stone Cold, drinking beer, trying to be like the Stone Cold MMA drinking. And I said, he's doing something, because not to get off subject, but in the earlier in UFC, they had, they were dressing up kind of like WWE, but the Dana White's never been all about that. But anyway, just wanted to throw that in there. But yeah, but this fight here was crazy. It kind of makes me wonder, okay, well, now Tuivasa, he's gonna go up now. He'll probably fight down. I mean, he got a KO, dominant, devastating win, devastating fashion, and it was against a powerhouse that's Greg Hardy. So we know Tuivasa is going to go probably on his way to a title. Maybe not yet, but if he can win maybe one or two more in good fashion, he'll probably be up there. He'll slowly move up there. He just can't lose this momentum, because this set a good, coming off a win from Greg Hardy. I mean, that's awesome. So congratulations for him. Now with Greg Hardy, my advice to him, I'd say he's really got to, recollect him. So go back, look at the tape for sure, kind of see where he went wrong. If you look at this fight, Greg Hardy goes into the punch. So kind of similar to how like the Dustin did to Conor in their second fight. I kind of went in there and boom. It's almost kind of like one of those, you bobbed, you should have weaved, you weaved, we should have bobbed. I'm going to talk about all that stuff a lot, but that was the case here. He got excited, boom, the lights were out. So he's going to have to think, okay, next time this happens here, we're going to have to make sure we do something different. We do a shift in the strategy. That way they can see things coming. And you got to know when to take chances. And this is just an unfortunate case because he looked rocked. So Hardy took it, but this was just, it's kind of one of those things, in MMA, anything can happen, but yeah.
I think, Hardy will learn from this. He still new. He came out very aggressive. It looked like he was a little confident to me. And even walking down to the ring, he was just pumped. And he did look good, and he did look good, but he made a mistake, and he's going to learn from that. I think it's going to be very interesting as we watch him in his next couple of fights, because if he can, the power is definitely there for Hardy. I think you got to watch him because he can knock you out with a punch, I think, but he's just going to have to continue to learn and grow, and he will. And it's going to be very interesting to see as he gains more experience, can he make a name for himself in the UFC? I think for Tuivasa, I think he was, I think he did get hit. I think he was rocked, but, he just came back and the punch that he threw, I don't know if anybody else would have done it. And he caught him and it rocked him. And Tuivasa has that power. You could see because when he hit and he knocked the heavyweight down with that punch. So that's scary. So anybody else that's going to get in that in the octagon with him, better watch out. Better take note of what happened last night, because he knocked a big boy down with one punch. He rocked him, and so I think it was a great fight. I think if Hardy didn't go in there, it goes a couple of rounds. But unfortunately, he made a mistake. I think he'll learn from it, and it's going to be very interesting to see who Hardy fights next, and because I think as he gains experience with the power that he has, he could be dangerous. So let's just see what happens. And the next fight, there was your boy, well, not your boy, but Stephen Thompson, Gilbert Burns. Man, this was, I gotta tell you, Val, this one was a good one. I enjoyed this fight. This one was good. I didn't think it was going to be as good as I didn't anticipate it was going to be that good, but I really enjoyed it. These guys went at it. For sure. Break this fight down for us.
Yeah, this one was awesome. We got this powerhouse. I, in my opinion, I think Gilbert Burns did have a strength advantage. So I knew right away Thompson was going to have to bring out all his technical skills, all his crafty skills, veteran skills to try to beat this guy. It didn't happen this night. Congratulations to Gilbert Burns. That's great. He is an amazing fighter. Like I always say about Brazilians, I mean, these guys have nothing but heart, nothing but passion. Good things for Gilbert Burns. I mean, this guy is going to work his way back up to Usman, maybe, try to get back that second shot. He already had a title shot. So now this fight was title contention now. So if whoever the winner out of these guys, they're probably going to get a title shot soon, if not the next one. So here we are. We could probably expect Gilbert to, be looking at title contention soon. Wonder Boy, too. He still probably is around, but this loss did set him back. He might have to maybe fight down, come back, couple of wins or something. But I mean, as long as Thompson doesn't lose the next 2-3 fights, he should be still good, right? I believe in Wonder Boy. I'm a big fan of him. Big fan of Gilbert Burns too. We're going to start breaking this down fight. Round one, great fireworks. Immediately start to fill each other out. I mean, a good minute passes. There's no significant strikes. it's almost like crickets. And we were like biting our nails. It was like the first minute or two that I was like, what is going on? But I knew they were just, but I don't fight or nothing. But if you know the sport, if you watch, they're making the reads. They're making the rhythm, they're getting the timings. They're trying to figure out it's a puzzle standing in front of it. And they are trying to crack it in the amount of time that they're given. Right now, if anything, eventually Burns, he goes for a takedown, right? He has him against the fence. And that's what he was trying to do a lot, But Thompson, he's showing good defense in the beginning. But after a short while, Burns, he's able to take him down. And he attempts to mount. But, he gets into half guard. Thompson, he walks up the fence. He attempts to try to score points, but the round's over. Gilbert should have some good control in the first round, possibly winning the first round. So I don't think Wonderboy was able to strike enough. And throughout the fight, because if you look at the record, at the stats, if you look at the stats, Gilbert has 80% strikes and Thompson has 60. So that's over. Again, he had 20% more significant strikes, and in the way that they judge, it's strikes, grappling, followed by control. In that order. So these strikes had a lot to do with the win. There was no submission attempts here. Gilbert did have 3 takedowns, 3 out of 6 takedowns. He had 50% of his takedowns success. Wonderboy didn't have any takedowns, so. No grappling, no takedowns, really too much from Wonderboy. He had 60% strikes, whereas Gilbert had the 3 takedowns, 3 out of the 6, had 80%. So right away, on paper, Gilbert wins. The fight, has it happened though? I do believe Gilbert did deserve it, but I was rooting for Wonderboy because I predicted he was gonna win because I was betting on his craftiness, his veteranness. I thought the later the fight gone, maybe in the first, second round, I knew Gilbert was gonna be the aggressor, come out, push the pace, try to lead the dance, lead the waltz, however you want to say it. And then maybe in the third, fourth, Wonderboy start to come back, and maybe I saw it. Maybe there in a little bit we did see it, but. I did think Wonderboy had his moments, but overall, I think it was a good decision. I would say good congratulations for Burns. But with these guys, it's really crazy because even though Wonderboy was attempting to get back up, Gilbert got control of him most of this time. So he not only has these 3 takedowns, but he's got control time, and all of these things, the strikes, the movement, the flow, the takedowns, it all added up to where it just overweighed Thompson. I think Thompson, definitely he has to definitely come back and regroup from this too, because I do believe he's still technical. He's a counter fighter. He was trying to pull out the stops. He did respect Burns in the sense that he knew his power. He was evading when he was supposed to. He was trying to defend the takedowns. He was using good mobility. And he was trying to do what Wonderboy does, is pick his opponents apart, evade, pick, and it may not be a kill shot. If the kill shot's there, great. But with Wonderboy, I see a lot of counter fighting a lot, and he does wear and tear. The longer the fight goes, he'll boom, 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 pick him out. That's what he was trying to do. He never really found the sense of he never caught 100% Gilbert's rhythm, because Gilbert was just maybe he was I think his strength had a lot to do with it too, and determination, because he was not afraid to get Wonderboy up the fence, and he wasn't afraid for Wonderboy to drop hits on him while he was attempting takedowns, getting singles, getting doubles, or whatever he was trying to do. So this one was amazing, just amazing. I predicted Thompson, but good job for Burns. He was strong, and he's very got a big heart. I look forward to seeing Burns. I think Burns is on his way to a title rematch, eventually, for sure.
Absolutely. But listen, man, this is a great fight. And when Burns took him down, he let him back up, and the thing with Burns too is he's very strong. His shape, he was in good shape. He's just strong, man. He's just strong. He's gonna be a tough fighter. I think it was a good fight. Both of them were good fighters. That's what I'm saying. I really enjoyed that fight, man. It was good. Every round was good. They were going at it, but it did look like Burns really wasn't afraid to go after him, take him down. And when he took him down in that third round, you could tell, man, he's just dangerous, very dangerous when he gets there. So, he gets to win. We'll see what happens, who his next fight is. We'll see how long it'll take him before he gets another title shot. And then we jump over to the main event, which we talked about this. It was anticipated that this was after this fight, it would end it. We said, this will be the end. If Dustin wins, he's the better fighter because, the first fight you could say, well, he won. The second fight, okay, yeah, it was luck. But if he was able to beat Conor McGregor in this one, you're not going to get lucky twice in a row. So he was just going to be the better fighter. Same thing with Conor. Conor knocks him out in the first round, in the first fight, and then second round, we're saying, well, he really didn't take the fight, seriously and stuff. So, if Conor beats Dustin, then Conor's a better fight. And what we didn't talk about and what we didn't anticipate was that the fight would end the way it ended in round one. Those things can happen. We just didn't talk about it or even think that it would happen in this fight. Mm-hmm. So what happens is, I think he breaks his ankle or something to the point where he can't continue, right? So we're here. I'm going to let you break this fight down. Then I've got some questions for you.
For sure. This one, crazy, legendary fight. McGregor's made such a name for himself. This guy is just, he has a lot of star power. Even though he lost, I'm sure he'll have he's going to have a big fight too. Is he as good as maybe he was 4 or 5 years ago? We're still trying to figure that out. But right now we're going to break down this third fight. And I do have a lot of stuff to say too about this third fight. I mean, in the very beginning, Conor, he comes out with spinning back kicks. Conor, he gets a clean punch right away in the first minute. And, this is what we needed, from Conor. He did see that I do want to say that in the second fight, looking at that fight to how Conor performed to this fight, even though it only went one round, it didn't even make it to the second round. In the very first minute, you can tell that Conor was a little bit more prepared, but at the end of the day, Dustin looked like he was one step ahead. He was a little bit, better than Conor that night, especially in the grappling. What made him back up was those leg kicks, was the leg foot, the foot kicks, the up kicks that Conor was giving him. And, after Dustin had got a few of them, that was kind of when he started, backing off. But before that, he was plummeting them. And pretty much, this is how it happens. Eventually Dustin tries to shoot. Conor attempts a guillotine. And so he's trying to lock it up. He's kind of got it, not 100% locked in. So he's going to need the body lock now with the legs. He doesn't really ever get it. Dustin, I think he said something about he kind of baited him. This fight wasn't very long either, about 1 round, right? So Dustin said that when he got him there, he kind of put his head there so that way Conor could grab it and commit to it, drop his guard to commit to this. And then when Dustin realized that, he kind of brought him down, pushed him with his body, and he got to the side, which creates a bit of space. So that way he was able to kind of pop out. Once he did that, the ground and pound was on. He was delivering some elbows. He was delivering some shots. McGregor was in trouble, but McGregor was okay because he stayed straight. He was okay, but he wasn't okay. But what I liked about him is that he definitely, I would think, handled the ground. Maybe not as well as somebody could have, or maybe another fighter could have on the ground. McGregor's not, known for the groundwork, but I do think he handled the ground as best as he could have, because Dustin did show a little bit of superiority in the grappling, how he was able to just keep him down, maybe not let him up, really pummel him. What made Dustin kind of stand him up towards the end, I think, was, like I said, those up kicks. Shortly after, that's when they started shooting, because Conor did get back up, and and it was those up kicks. I don't think Dustin wanted that. So when they stand up, they punch, they both miss. And then after that, it's kind of like a partial miss. After that, Conor backs up to get his regroup back. He's getting his space. He's getting his range. He doesn't know that his foot's messed up, so he steps on it, puts weight, and I think that's kind of the deal that happens with a lot of these guys. With a lot of these guys, you see them when they hurt their leg or something, and they step down and put weight on it, and that's when you hear it. I don't know for sure. I want to say it was a tibia break. I saw the video when his foot did roll, not trying to make any excuses for Conor. Dustin did win this night. That night, Dustin was a better man. I'm sure it did, had the fight gone on, had Conor never broken his foot, I would say the possibility of Dustin winning in the third, fourth, fifth round were high. But then again, this is MMA. This is mixed martial arts. You never know what's going to. This is almost like any given Sunday with these guys. You know, I've seen dudes losing hardcore just to come back crazy in a crazy submission or a crazy knockout. And with McGregor, you know, he's got the laser targets. Yeah, Dustin maybe one step ahead, but you never know. There could have been a chance of McGregor coming back, but more than likely Dustin would. I think his endurance, it was better than Conor's. Not saying that we don't know what Conor does. Conor might practice 5 rounds all the time. I'm sure in training he probably does 5, 6 rounds. But if you got to do it in the fight when you're really there, a lot of fighters say, you know, you got to bite down on the mouthpiece. The crowd's in your face. You got to get. It's almost like a different. They just say that it hits different, right? So Conor, he's so good in the past. I said this before, that he knocks him out in the first round, and that's it. So he tries to always recreate that. He always tries to do that. It looked like he did come prepared in the short 1 round that this fight was, this trilogy fight. It did look like he came a little bit prepared, but it also looked like Dustin was a step ahead. Even though Dustin got the TKO doctor stoppage, I don't know why they name it like that. It wasn't really a TKO, but it was a doctor stoppage, but they put the title TKO. So it kind of gives off to this false deal like TKO, but like they were knocked out. So that's why when Conor broke his leg, the first thing he started yelling was, "Hey, make sure it's a doctor stoppage. Make sure it's the doctor stoppage," because he said if that wasn't a doctor stoppage, he goes, it would have gone down as like Dustin finished him. But as long as people see TKO doctor stoppage, well then they say, oh well maybe, you know, he didn't really finish him. Whether he was gonna finish him or not, we didn't know, because they for McGregor's safety, of course, and Poirier's, they stopped the fight. But I mean, Conor did seem like he did come prepared, like he took this seriously. He looked better than before, I think. But Dustin, I just feel like Dustin's endurance, Dustin's durability, he just knows how to scrap, and he's been hit and rocked hard and recovered. And Dustin's is just tough. He's one of the top. He's one of the top lightweights right now, especially now beating McGregor twice. So basically, what I want to say is, you know, congratulations to Dustin. He did look a little bit better, but at the end of the day, I feel like he didn't finish Conor. And I did read somewhere where fans were thinking the same thing. They were saying, hey, maybe a 4th fight. Maybe there were people justifying a 4th fight. I'm not saying there's never going to be a 4th fight, but I don't think there's going to be a 4th fight soon. If there is, then that's crazy, and I take my statement back. But I think Dustin might, you know, probably move on, and I think Conor might have to fight a little bit more. But yeah, but that's pretty much it's pretty much it for that one. Yeah, I mean, that was a good fight between Dustin. Really came forward. We know how resilient he is, and he really brought it to Conor. I just feel
with an injury, with an injury like Conor's, in your opinion, how long do you think Conor will be out before we see him back into the training and getting back into the octagon?
Well, you know, you hear it's just a mental thing, right? But then you never know until you really get there, because I've seen stories of fighters completely snap their leg off, and they're fighting again, and they're doing this and they're doing that, but secretly years later, they might not want to admit it then, but then they always say, hey, you know, maybe it wasn't the same, maybe there wasn't. But it's really all the mental game. Really, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. You got to do what makes you happy. You got to do what keeps you driving. You got to do what you love. And if Conor is living, breathing, eating, fighting, he's going to come back, and he's going to learn from this and say, hey, I still got it. A lot of experts are talking right now, and a lot of the experts that I've seen are saying, hey, you know, Conor, he is good. I heard somebody say Conor can beat maybe a top 20 guy. But can he beat a champion? And that said levels, because it kind of makes one wonder, okay, well, he beat Cowboy Cerrone. One could argue Cerrone might be on his way out. Not all due respect to Cerrone, one of the best of all time. You know, I love Cerrone. But one could argue, hey, you know, he might be retiring soon. So they see that as, well, a little gray area, right? So now with Poirier, we get a little bit higher step in talent. And McGregor, even though he beat him the first time, you know, that was years ago. And that 5-6 years, Poirier has shown, he's shown maturity, and he's shown a passion for this like no other, because he even says that the talk, you know, that don't faze him. He's trying to be more level-headed, more nicer. But even every man has a breaking point, apparently, because after the fight, McGregor was on the ground. And mind you, McGregor had been, talking all crazy and saying he was going to whack Poirier, saying he was going to bury him, talking stuff about his wife. So Poirier is just trying to be cool the whole fight week. But then when he gets the win, he kind of gloats a little bit out of character, for Dustin Poirier. He don't really gloat too much, but he did after that one. And I think,
well, I think when Poirier, I think people they're accustomed to Conor dominating.
mm-hmm.
So, those hits that he was getting, right? Sometimes the hits and the noise, the fans that are there make it seem, I think, worse than what it really is. Because when, I looked at that video a couple of times over and over today, and, Dustin went at him when Conor fell, he couldn't move anymore. We saw it, right? But at that time, in real live action, right? Dustin's okay. You go down. I'm not looking at your legs. I'm going. You're on the ground. I'm going after you. I haven't heard. No bell. The round had to stop.
Mm-hmm.
He took a couple more punches. Conor just gets right back up like it was nothing. He was never with those elbows really hurt. I think sometimes people are like, "Well, look, he got hit." You're scoring points. I'm not saying you're not, but to say, Conor was done or whatever. I think he would have came back in the second round. They would have gone at it again. Mm-hmm. So I'm not set on the fact that he was done in the first. I do think though that as the rounds, I do agree with you. And as the rounds, as you get to the second, third, I think it does favor Poirier a lot more because I think he can go the endurance. How we still don't know if Conor can go the whole 5. He did look a little winded. But it's Conor McGregor. And the thing with Conor is he doesn't take very long. One bad mistake and he has you. So he's never really out of a fight, right? But I heard people say, oh, he's done. And I was like, I don't think he's done. Listen, you got to give Dustin. Dustin's a great fighter. He's a top-notch fighter now. In those 5 or 6 years from their first fight, this guy's a whole different fight. He looks different. If you look back at the video when he first fought Conor, and you look at him now, just his appearance alone is different than what he looked like. He don't even look like the same fighter, right? So he's more confident. And I talked about this on the podcast. When you can beat a Conor, in that second fight, there's still some doubt in your mind, right? Because I haven't beaten him. I'm a good fighter, but I haven't beaten him. But once you beat Conor McGregor, right? Then you come into that third fight and you're taking more chance. I've beaten this guy before. I've beaten him, so I know I can do it again. It changes things. So I think Conor McGregor, I don't know if he'll come back. He said, hey, it's not over. I don't think it's going to set well with Conor. They're probably not going to fight here. Dustin will probably move on to something else. And Conor, but somewhere down the road, right? Let's just say somewhere down the road, Conor comes back. He starts fighting again. Maybe he won't be fighting the top 5, but maybe he just keeps on winning, keeps on winning, gaining some of that UFC swag back, right?
For sure.
Somewhere down the line, these two are going to meet again if Conor decides to continue with UFC, because I don't think it stays this way. I don't think it left a good taste in Conor. Conor is going to want to come back and redeem himself. He's going to be hearing the talks and hey, look, this happened. So I think somewhere down the road, these guys are definitely going to meet up if Conor stays in the UFC. So I don't think it's over, but I do think that Dustin Poirier is at the top of his game right now. He needs to continue. If I'm Dustin and I'm Dustin's camp, I say, look, Conor's done. Maybe down the road, we meet up with him again. Right now, we've got to focus on, you have a title shot. Let's go this way. It's a done deal, and he needs to continue because he is at the top of his game, Val, and I think this guy can do wonders. He's fighting, he's confident, he looks like he's in the best shape of his life. This guy can do some things in the UFC, so he needs to continue to move forward. But like I said, I don't think it's over between Conor and Dustin. I think we're going to see him somewhere down the road. These guys are going to meet up again. Your record, you went 1-4 in the first one. I think you said you're like 3-7, right? So you won 2 out of the 5 in this one.
Yeah, 2 out of 5. Yeah, because I got Sean O'Malley, Irene, Aldana. I predicted them to win.
Yeah. Well, that's why we do it, right? I mean, it's so you're 3-7 total in the next go around. I'm going to get more involved. I'm going to start really focusing. I've been watching now for 2 fights. It's almost 2 months now. So I'm doing my research. So I don't know. I still got a lot to learn, but I feel like in the next one I can make my predictions. I think I can read enough and get enough information where I think I could potentially make a good pick, and we'll see what happens. So I'm going to start picking the main events moving forward with Val, see how well I do. We'll also put these on the post. Listen, Val, this was a great. I anticipated that it was going to be a lot better. Of course, you never know what's going to happen in the UFC, right? It's unfortunate what happened to Conor. I think a lot of people, were anticipating, hey, we're going to see a knockout or something. It's going to end. We didn't like the way it ended, but it happens. And so, we'll continue to follow Dustin, see what's next for him, and we'll keep an eye on Conor. Conor's always in the media. We'll continue to hear what he's got to say. We'll continue to talk about both of these fighters here on the 365 Sports Unlimited, and we'll see what happens next. Hopefully, Conor will be able to recover 100%. I think he will. And, I'm a Conor McGregor fan myself, so I'd like to definitely see him back. Is he the top guy still today that he was years back? No. Can he get back to that position? I don't know. That's still debatable. He's definitely not going to be dominating the guys in the first round like he did when he first came into the UFC. But he's still dangerous. He's still a very dangerous guy when you get in the ring with him, because he still possesses the skill and the power that he can hurt you if you make a mistake. So I don't think he'll be as dominant and whipping people around, but he can still get there. I think he's still got enough. He's still got some fuel in the tank, man. He's not done in the UFC yet. So we definitely want to continue to keep an eye on him. But boy, Dustin, let's see what happens with him. He's at the top of his game, and I want to see exactly how good this guy can really be when his career is said and done. So we move forward now. What's next? Next month, have you heard anything? Is there a 265 coming anywhere soon? Is there some fights already booked for 265? If there's one already?
Yeah, there are some fights coming up. I believe it's August 7th, Toyota Center. Looks like it's coming to Houston. Not sure if I'm going yet. It's got a lot of good people. Got Ed Herman. He's a veteran. He's been around a long time. He was on Ultimate Fighter season number 3 with Ken Shamrock and Tito Ortiz. I just happen to know that one. Alonzo Menfield, he's good, up and comer, young prospect. I mean, he's 33, but he's only 10-2, so he hasn't been in the UFC like too long. But he's coming out. He's a heavy hitter too. Both these guys are on the preliminary card though. Let's see if they got the main ones. Main ones looking like it's gonna be Derek Lewis, Cyril Gain for. I think Dana White wants to do an interim heavyweight title because apparently with Ngannou, they're trying to find him opponent. They're trying to do they couldn't make negotiations with John Jones. Apparently him and Lewis were supposed to fight, but now him and Lewis, for some reason, they're just not being able to meet agreements. I don't know if it is just because of if it's financial stuff or it's just them, but Ngannou and Derek didn't look like it was happening. Ngannou and the other one, John Jones. Yeah, sorry. John Jones looked like that didn't happen. They couldn't make agreements. So now they're saying, hey, well, we're just going to do interim heavyweight belt for the meantime, and we'll give it to Derek Lewis. Again, I don't really know. I would just rather them. Everybody wants to see a banger, and that's probably what they're doing, But I would just rather them try to work something out, let the champion do it. There's got to be a contract. He's got to fight at least 3 times a year or 2 times a year, whatever it says in his contract. But I would really like for them to come up to some type of agreements because Stipe Miocic is still trying to he might want to come fight again too because he just lost the belt to Ngannou. He had won a few times, so he feels, hey, maybe I can get one more win and then he can get the title shot, or They just give it to him already. But yeah, but for whatever reason, Ngannou hasn't been he's the heavyweight champion, and he just hasn't came to an agreement. He said on social media that he was kind of lashing out in a way to UFC. He was kind of putting on social media saying, hey, you know, they're not paying us right, all this kind of stuff. But then you have people coming in justifying UFC's pay, but then you got other people, and it becomes bigger. Like there's other topics and stuff. It's all this big stuff. He's sitting here talking on. But yeah.
No, yeah, listen, yeah, it's coming to Houston. We'll be back on the 365 Sports Unlimited. Val and I will be back next Sunday at 7:00. And we're going to be breaking down, obviously, as we see these matches develop, these fights develop, the main event card. As we see them, we definitely want to break them down. So you're going to start hearing us talk about the 265 that Val said early August. It'll be coming to Houston, and you heard Val. He still hadn't made a decision if he'll be there live or not. But we're going to continue to break those fights down for you as they develop, as they become. Let's see which fights are going to come into the main card for 265. And again, we're here every Sunday, 1 week before the actual fight takes place. Val and I will make our predictions on this on the 265, and then the polls will go up 1 week prior. So you guys can take a look at that on our 365 Sports Unlimited Twitter page or Facebook page. And so, if you like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Coast to Coast Sports. Become a subscriber. We're going to continue to get better. I know that we're taking baby steps with this. We've got other things that are going on as well, but we're going to continue to get some steam here. Maybe bring in some guests, maybe bring in another person to debate us. I'm going to get more familiarized. As I get more familiarized with the fighters, I can definitely give you more input, and that'll make this podcast a little bit more interesting. I know we kind of started off with just you, but we've got some ideas. Hopefully that as we integrate them into this podcast, it'll get better. Our viewership will get better. And people get more interested, right? So because we're going to continue to do this, man. I'm really loving getting in with these fighters. I was really impressed. Like I said, when we first started this, I just know the main fighters. I don't know the up and comings, but once I do get familiarized with them, and as we see Greg Hardy and all these younger guys, these beginners starting to come in, man. Then we see them in the next fight, right? Then I already know something, so I can throw some input from the prior fight that I saw. So we're going to continue to get better, man. And once again, look for us. This video will be posted, not tonight, but it will be posted up tomorrow afternoon, which will be Monday afternoon around 3. Tomorrow might be a little later, about maybe 5:00. Look for this video just to get uploaded into our Coast to Coast YouTube channel, and then it'll be shared over to our 365 Sports Unlimited Facebook and Twitter page. And once again, if you like this video, please subscribe, become a subscriber, as we'll be on every Sunday at 7:00. So Val, as I always do here, man, I give you the last word. Oh, one more thing, Val. This video will also be shared to our Coast to Coast Facebook and Twitter page. You can also see this on either Twitter. You can see it on Twitter and Facebook, and you can also see it on our YouTube Coast to Coast Sports YouTube channel. So Val, before we leave, as I always do, I want to give you the last word, man. Anything you got to say before we call it a night?
Yeah, I'm always having fun with this. I love, bringing the fights to you guys, getting some news, kind of, just discussing, what's going on in the MMA world here, and really just, bringing it to life and being able to talk about it and bring it to you guys. That's it's awesome feeling. And these fights that go down, I mean, I really do see all the technical skills, the wrestlers going up against the strikers, a boxer, maybe going up against jiu-jitsu. There's just all kinds of different clashes and different combinations with these fighters, and it just makes for just a wonderful sport. The violence, maybe not so much, right? That's not in our nature, the violence, but this is just, it's a crazy sport, competitive sport. And, this is just a sport that, we totally fell in love with. And I'm happy to bring it to you guys. Happy to do it with you, Gabriel. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I love it. Like I said, I'm getting more involved, like I said, as we start seeing the fighters. Because what I do, Val, really is throughout the week when I got time, man, I sit around I look at our podcast, I'll look at it like maybe 9 to 10 times before we come on the next week again, bits and pieces to see how we can improve it. I also look at, I do some research on these fighters. I look at, I read up on these guys. What are they going to do next? Their fight, because the more knowledge that you have when you come onto the podcast, the better the podcast is going to be, right? So we do our work. I mean, we do got other stuff that's going on, but in that week's time, I am able to spend a little bit more time on the UFC, and I think it's going to continue to get that way, obviously, and it'll give me better suited for this podcast. And then, of course, as we talked, we do want to bring in guests from time to time to be able to debate with us some of these fights, and maybe even get another permanent guy, or it ain't gotta be a guy. We can get another female. There's females that love UFC that if they're willing to can come on to 365 and join us this 1 hour and get their perspective. The more we can debate this, the better the podcast becomes, right? So I'm excited. Like I said, I got some things jotted down. We're gonna implement into this podcast. Hopefully it'll continue to get better. And the people that follow us will see the improvements that we're making. But I'm telling you, Val, I love it. I love coming on every Sunday at 7:00 and talking about these fights and watching them. And then, of course, I pay for the fights now. And so I'm able to watch it. And that's exciting. And I get more into it, Val, because I know that I'm going to be talking about this, right? So it's an incentive for me to, hey, get into this stuff, because you're going to have to come out on Sunday evening. And so you want to at least be able to, I'm not as in tune with like you are, but I am getting there, and that's a good thing. So, Val, man, I appreciate it. And we'll see you. Maybe I'll send you a text here and there during the week, man. But I'm looking forward to next Sunday at 7:00. The 365 Sports Unlimited will be back. Val and I will be back, and we will start to break down the UFC 265 that's scheduled to take place in Houston. And we'll also talk about other things. If there's anything going on with Dustin this week, if there's anything going on with Conor, anything that's going on, we'll definitely be breaking that as well on Sunday. So until then, man, like we do it here on the 365, brother, peace out.
All right.
There you go. Peace out. Have a good night, man. And I will see you next Sunday.
For sure. Next Sunday. I'll see you. Take care.